What's up guys, Justin here with the CGEssentials.com, back with another Blender add-on tutorial. In today's video we're going to talk more about the amazing add-on HOMEBUILDER, the parametric architectural modeling tool built on PyClone. But we're going to talk today about how we can use this tool to make walls that automatically fill in framing, walls with things like brick on them, other things like that, as well as how we can use these to set up a space. And then if you guys are interested in the future, we'll get more in depth on things like how to use the cabinet modeling tools and other things like that. So let's go ahead and just jump into it. All right, so I'm going to link to a video I did before that gives you an overview on the way that this works. You need to download and install a special version of Blender called PyClone. So PyClone basically has some additional scripting stuff inside of it, I believe in the Python language. So you can go to this video in order to do that. I'm also going to link to the add-on in the notes down below. But today I wanted to talk in particular about the wall modeling tools and kind of get in depth on those because they're pretty cool. I think it's one of my favorite implementations of this that I've seen in Blender. So the first thing you need to do is you need to have this PyClone version of Blender created. Then there's a tab in here called PyClone. And so what PyClone has off to the left-hand side is it has a collection of different object libraries. So right now, we're currently looking at the HOMEBUILDER library. So there are other places where you can create libraries, but in particular in this video, we're focusing on the stuff that comes with HOMEBUILDER. And so the first thing we want to do in this video is we want to look at the walls options. So the walls options is going to give us the option for these three different kinds of walls. And notice how this collection shows us PNG preview files so we can see what those walls are. But there's three different kinds of walls in here, and all of them are parametric, meaning you can go back and adjust them later on. So for example, let's create a simple wall. So to do that, we just take this wall, we just drag it into Blender right here. So you drop it in and notice how now this is live, and this is giving you something where you can kind of move your mouse and set a base point. Notice how this is doing this on this plane. You can kind of see the plane, so it's kind of locking it to that, so you don't have to worry about putting it randomly out in the 3D space somewhere. But then all you have to do is just click, then move your mouse and click again in order to place your wall. And so you can do this multiple times. So for example, let's say that I wanted to create just kind of a rectangular-ish room. So just something very simple. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to create some walls like this. So I'm just going to move my mouse over here, and then I'll go ahead and click to finish this off. And when I'm done, I'm just going to right-click to get out of there. And so at first glance, this looks pretty simple, right? It just looks like it drew some kind of extruded rectangles in here. However, the cool thing about this is if you right click on this, there's an option for wall prompts. And so this is one of the things I really like about this add-on is you don't have to worry about accidentally losing the menu and then it goes away forever. Instead, you can right click and you can get back to that wall prompt at any time. And you can use this to adjust things about your wall. So if I accidentally click off, if I rotate out into space, if I select other things, and then I come back in here and I right click on it, the wall prompts is always going to be there. And so that's really nice because you can't lose this, which I think has been a real problem in the past. But we can adjust the wall prompts, and what that's going to do is that's going to let us adjust things like the wall length. So notice how you can adjust your overall wall length for this wall. And notice how all the connected walls move as well. So you can also adjust things like height of your individual walls. Now I'm not sure, I'm going to go ahead and try this. I'm not sure if you do a shift click and select all of these and then right click and go to wall prompts. Yeah, I think you can't. Yeah, you can't adjust those all at once. You can only adjust one segment at a time. But still, you can get in here and you can adjust the lengths. You can adjust the locations of your walls. You can adjust the rotation. So again, notice how these other walls are rotating dynamically in order to match up with this. And so you can adjust all of those walls. And so in addition to having those walls, there's also a brick wall option and a framed wall option. So let's do the framed wall first. So if I drag the framed wall in here, I can click. Notice how this is dynamically placing your framing members in here based on parameters that you set. And so we can go back and adjust these in a second. But for right now, let's just create kind of a simple framed space. So just something like this, nothing too complicated. So if we look at this, you get the same options that we had before, right? So you have the option to select this wall, right click and go to your wall prompts. Well, notice how in addition to having your length, height, things we talked about before, you also have the option to adjust your framing. You can adjust your stud spacing thickness based on these options. So you can adjust all of that in here as well. And again, the cool thing about this is you can always access this, right? So if I right click in here, I can get back to it no problem at all. So then, in addition, there's also the option to create a brick wall. And so the brick wall is going to work kind of the same way. It's basically going to model out a brick wall with the bricks actually detailed. So if we look at this, right, you can see how this actually modeled out a wall with bricks inside of Blender. So if you select this, you can adjust the size of the bricks that are created in here, the height, all those different things. So you can adjust the mortar inset, so you can make this thicker or thinner if you decide that you want to do that. All right, and so one thing you might notice about this is the materials act a little bit weird. Right, the way the materials are supposed to work is you're supposed to be able to come in here in your materials section and actually adjust these materials. Notice how nothing is showing up in this box, so I can't add the different materials that come with this. So the way that you fix this is you have to run this as an administrator. So, for example, what I want to do is with my Blender 2.91 PyClone version, I don't want to double click on it. I want to right click and click on Run as Administrator. So this is going to be really important because otherwise your materials aren't going to work properly. But now if I open this up, I'm going to tell it to allow the execution of this script, but now we can come in and adjust these materials. So first of all, you're going to notice that now if I bring the bricks in like this, they're actually going to have a material applied to them. I don't know what it is about the administrator access that's kind of messing this up, but it definitely does do that. So just be aware and you can kind of get around it. I'm sure it'll get fixed in the future. But one thing that you can do is you can also adjust the materials applied to these parametric walls using your settings over here. Over here on the left-hand side of your page, there's this little set of gears. There's a tab that says Materials. And so that Materials tab is going to allow you to apply different materials to objects inside of your model. So for example, right now, let's take a look at our walls. So we're going to go back in here with our walls, right? These are currently having the wall paint applied to them. Well, let's say we wanted these walls to have something else. Well, what we can do is we can click on this and there's a number of different walls in here that we can use. So let's say we wanted these walls to have a concrete material. Basically, if we click on this and then we click on the little arrow button to walls, what that's going to do is that's going to apply concrete inside of your model, but then you need to click on the button for Update Materials. Well, when you update materials, what that's going to do is that's going to apply those materials to your walls. Well, notice how my framing also got the default wood material applied to it when we did this. That's because now I have administrator access and it's allowing it to do this. But by doing that, you can really quickly adjust the materials inside of your model. So you can click this little drop down. Let's say you wanted these walls to be particle board. You could just apply particle board to the walls. Just make sure you click on Update Materials when you do that. Then you can see how that material is now being applied to the walls inside of your model. So last thing, you can also set defaults for your walls. So if you click in here under Library Options, notice how you can set your default wall height and thickness so that these will get brought in with the size that you want. All right, so that's kind of an overview of the way HOMEBUILDER currently works. I'm super excited about this add-on. I know the developer is working hard adding things to it and adjusting it even right now. In the future, I'm also planning on talking about the cabinets and also the doors and windows. So if that's something you're interested in, leave a comment down below and let me know exactly what you'd like to see. If you like this video, please remember to click that like button down below. If you're new around here, remember to click that subscribe button for new Blender content every week. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.